Greetings! So in today's video, I want to take a quick look at this set. This is a Cotman set from Winsor & Newton. Nothing special. It has 16 colors, made in China. Has a color chart in the box. It's a nicely informative chart, but Winsor & Newton never puts the pigment info on the charts, and I wish I knew why, but the box itself, so it stays nice and flat. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but it can open even larger than flat, but it stays nice and flat. There is no difference of level between the base and the lid. The lid has 6 mixing areas. The set comes with a pencil, a small travel brush. These brushes are very small. It also has a kneaded eraser. This space here for the pencil could also be used for the brush. Now, the set has 2 removable inserts. Actually, it has 3. So you can remove these. This one is just one line. This one has little separators, so it goes in the middle, and this one also has just one line. It goes at the end. The set has 16 colors wrapped in paper and plastic. So I will unwrap everything, I will label everything, swatch, do the demo, and I'll come back to talk to you guys about my impressions of this particular set. See ya in a bit. And I am back with my completed swatches and tests featuring these Cotman paints. This is what the set looks like now. So as you can see, I used all the areas in the lid for mixing. I also used this space here. Now the way this set is made is that you have these plastic inserts. Kind of glued in there, but okay. So yeah, basically these will get kind of dirty if you use the pans, and also if you use this area for mixing, well, chances are that the paint will go under the pans and might glue them in place, like you just saw. So what this system loses in sturdiness and efficiency, you can kind of win that back in versatility, because you could easily put a full pan in here, I think, and you have the option of making this set really more customizable. And if you don't plan on removing the separators a lot, well, they're gonna be glued in place with the paint and it's gonna be fine. So not really an issue. And here's the demo pages I did. So I did the swatches first, like I always do. And regarding this specific set, I think the color selection is really nice. I think this is a very versatile color selection. Now, my usual criteria for a versatile color selection are if you get a good primary triad in there, if you get interesting convenience colors, and if you basically have a bit of everything. So with this particular set, you can see that we have our yellow, our magenta, and a cyan color. So that's for the primary triad. We can then sort of expand this into a split primary color selection with the 2 yellows, the red and the magenta, or this red, the alizarin crimson, is a bit of a cool red too. So you could either use this one or the permanent rose. I prefer the permanent rose. Cat red is the warm red. And then we have an ultramarine blue for the warm blue and a cerulean blue for the cool blue. So split primary covered. Then we get 1 violet. We don't get any orange in this set, but it would be fairly easy to mix. And we get 2 greens and 2 earth tones, and then neutrals. What this set is possibly missing is a yellow ochre, but aside from that, I feel like this is a really good basis to cover. Also, we get 16 colors in this set, so that gives us a lot of space for color choices. Now, usually I'm not very fond of white paint in sets, though I will say that this one was quite serviceable. It has a decent opacity level, and that kind of makes it useful for some effects when you are doing illustration work like I do. Regarding my examples, my demo pieces, I was pleasantly surprised at the effectiveness of these paints. My previous impression about Cotman paints was that they were really weak, really goopy, not very fun to use. And through using this set, I had a lot of fun. Of course, the paints are not, amazing, but they're very serviceable. Some colors will deliver a really solid punch, like the darker colors like Payne's Gray, Black. These are quite intense. The other colors are, varying levels of intensity. The sap green has the issue that I've always had with Cotman sap green, is that it's kind of weak for what it is, and to get a good saturation and depth of color, you kind of have to use up a lot of paint. And if you use up a lot of Cotman paint, it gets this sort of goopy texture or blurriness to it. It's hard to explain. You kind of have to paint with it to really see it. And I have some other examples that I did that might showcase this better. But for these two pieces, I didn't use a lot of the greens, so it didn't really occur in these drawings. I used a lot of the earth tones, the blues, the dark colors here, and I used a lot of the white, which is, a bit of a surprise, but it was really serviceable. If you look at all these spray effects that I did, these didn't look too bad. They're like opaque enough to work. I also used the wet paint to do a lot of touch-ups on, the waterfall and the water effects and all the droplets and all that. And I think it worked surprisingly well. So this, all in all, was a very good surprise. Now, the other tests that I did, so I did not this side. So I did this one here. This is where I piled on the greens and got to that sort of gloopy looking effect. It's really hard to explain, but you kind of get too much binder for pigment, and since you pile on a lot of pigment, you also get a lot of binder, and it kind of gets a bit glossy and weird. It's not a texture like granulation, it's really a texture of too much binder and not enough pigment. Really hard to explain. I'm not even sure you'll be able to see it on the camera, but if you've painted with Cotman paints, you might know. I also had two other sketches that I wanted to do, so these two. All of these kind of used the same colors, so perhaps that's not the most instructive or informative thing I could have done. But it was really interesting to work all of these colors. It allowed me to notice that you get some good granulation in the ultramarine blue and the burnt umber and some of the darker colors, which was really fun to use for big areas. Good granulation for big, flat colors or gradients always give them a lot more texture, and it makes them a lot more interesting. I was able to come back and work some little details, either with a darker color or with a color that I mixed with the white, just a bit to add some variation. And basically that's my impression of this set. So to sum it up, I think this is a really nice set. It's relatively affordable. The colors are very versatile or serviceable. It's not the best student range I've seen, but it's definitely not the worst either. Overall, I had a lot of fun painting my demo pieces, and even using like the white color, which is not something that I was very big on, but that I'm slowly starting to realize can be useful in some cases. So what do you guys think of this set? Have you painted with Cotman paints before? I think probably everybody has, but I'd be curious to hear your thoughts and to read what you have to say about these colors. And again, thank you so much for watching this video. See you all in the next one. Bye bye.